Hey everybody, it's PJ from Wisconsin Airgunners, and today we are going to install a Saber Tactical adjustable cheek riser. So if you're like me, you like shooting the FX Impact. This one's in 30 cal and it's a great bench gun. But it's not perfect. I've installed a couple of parts that make it better. The Saber Tactical Arca Swiss rail is a major improvement over the standard trigger guard and rail setup, primarily because it moves the Picatinny mount for my bipod so far forward. It really increases the stability when I shoot, especially at 100 yards. I've also got a Saber Tactical bag rider on here, and I use a rear squeeze bag to make those precise long distance shots. And this is a major improvement over what's really kind of a void. I find the stock butt pad to be a little bit lacking. It doesn't have the kind of grippy surface I want, and it's not contoured to my shoulder, and Saber Tactical makes a replacement for that. The other thing is this adjustable cheek riser. I know that when I have friends who shoot the Impact, a lot of them have a hard time finding the sweet spot in the scope so that they're seeing the crosshairs and can make accurate shots. It's kind of disheartening when someone takes a look at your rifle that you've invested a lot in and you're very proud of, and they simply say, "I can't see the target." Well, part of that's because on the Impact, especially when you're using a higher mount, in this case I've got no limit mounts on here, it makes it difficult for the average person using the cheek riser where it is to get their eye into the right position so that they can see down the center of the scope. And we're going to install this accessory, an adjustable riser. Gives you about an inch of travel, maybe a little more than an inch up and down, and allows you then to move this up and down so that you can get that perfect fit. It's no different than an adjustable comb on a wood stocked gun. It's just for the FX Impact. So let's take a look at how it installs. Out of the package, you'll need to remove these 3 Allen bolts. Set them somewhere safe so you don't lose them. When you unscrew the second one of these, the 2 pieces are going to come apart, so you can set this part aside. The third piece is actually what goes inside the gun. Now the easiest way to put this in, I've found, is to make sure you have the holes on the outside in the up position and the middle in the middle, okay? So you're going to take that and you're going to feed it in so that it pretty much lines up in those slots. I'm doing this with the Saber Tactical adjustable butt pad installed. If you have the standard FX butt pad, you're simply going to have to take it off in order to make this installation happen. It'll all work and it'll all fit back together in the end, but you will have to take it off. Then what I do is I take a small Allen key and very carefully slot it through the hole, and then I use that to pull this forward so that those guys right there are fitting through. And then you can finger tighten that first screw, and you really only have to get it tight enough so that it's not going to go anywhere. And then you can feed your Allen key back through the other side. The next step in the process is to remove the screws on the top of your cheek piece. Don't lose these. Now you can attach the rail to the rifle. Bring that up just a little bit, and we're going to snug that in slightly. Now we can bring the cheek piece back into the rifle and line up the screws with the holes. You don't want to tighten one down before the others get seated, or you run the risk of attaching it unevenly. These don't need to be ridiculously torqued down. Just tight enough so they're not going anywhere. I guess you could put a little Loctite on there if you wanted to, if you think you're going to put this on and never do anything with it. I've never had them come loose. If you torqued it too much, there's probably a possibility you could crack this material, whatever it is. When you tighten this down, you need to make sure that this whole interior mechanism is all the way to the bottom in this slot. And at that point you can tighten this down, because when you move the lever, you can see that that bolt probe has to be able to go back in that space. So if you were to try to gain more adjustment and move this up and tighten it here, when you go to cock the gun, you'd hit an obstruction. So before you go any farther, make sure this is tightened down, and then cycle the bolt, and you should see that it moves without any problem and without any obstruction. And when you go to change calibers, you still have access to that little Allen screw. So the installation is fairly straightforward. The important part is adjustment, and I want to show you how I adjust the cheek riser and its height to fit me and my scope. So, take the gun, I close my eyes, I bring the gun up to my face, and I put my cheek where I want it to be, and then I open my eyes. And right now I can tell it's adjusted too high. I'm not able to see the full, crisp, round outline of the scope. There's some fogginess at the bottom. So at this point, I grab the correct Allen wrench, I loosen this just a little bit. Move the rail down a little bit. Retighten, repeat the process. Close my eyes, bring the gun up to my scope, get comfortable, open, and it's perfect. I can see the entirety of the scope. I can see the whole way around. That's perfect for me. And now I'm able to give this just a little bit more tighten, so I know it's not going to go anywhere. If I'm going to do this with a rifle I shoot primarily off the bench, the process is the same. Close my eyes, make the cheek weld open up, and if I'm seeing perfectly down the scope, the height is right. As you guys can see for my setup, that cheek riser is about a ½ inch higher than it would normally be. And it makes a lot of difference when you talk about all-day shooting comfort. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching. As far as installations go, this one's pretty straightforward. It doesn't require you to really open the gun at all. You're not playing with any of the air handling stuff, so if you're at all concerned about that sort of thing, this is an easy accessory to really literally bolt on. I hope you've enjoyed the video and it's been helpful for you. If it has, please hit that like button, it matters. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. If you like our content but can't wait for the next video to come out, there is stuff that we put on Instagram that doesn't make it to a video or waits till we get a whole bunch of stuff together to edit. If you want to follow us on Instagram, that's #Wisconsin Airgunners. And if you want to follow me personally, that's @PJ_Clark with an E on the end. Until the next video, please shoot straight and shoot safe, and we'll see you then. That the cheek weld is not perfect on my rifle, but I can drop the camera. Yeah. It'll be fine.